What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? So we are here for Love and Marriage Huntsville season 8, episode 7. Let's, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it, you guys. We are 17 subscribers away from our goal on our sister channel. If you guys could please, if you are not subscribed, please subscribe to the pin. The link is pinned at the top of the chat. 17 more to go, you guys. We can do it. We can do it. We can do it. If you are not subscribed to the ReallyBTV reviews channel, please get over there and subscribe. I would appreciate it much. I know y'all are not used to me coming on a Saturday night, but as I told you guys earlier today, I'm not going to be able to do it tomorrow. So if I didn't do it tomorrow, I wasn't going to be able to do it till like probably either Monday evening or Thursday. And so yeah. Hold on. Why is it blurry? What's going on? Okay. Let's get into the things, you guys. So let me be honest with you and tell you that so we still at the party. Let me just go through the review because it is what it is, child. We are still at the party, and we have Tisha that is still on 20. I don't know if Tisha was trying to get the liquid courage, which Janelle said to her, or if I don't know why this thing keeps blurring up like this, but I don't know if she had to get the liquid courage. I don't know if she was trying to make a moment, make a scene. Let me be honest and tell you what I think it was, and this is just my opinion. I don't know none of these people personally. I honestly think Tisha has been doing this long enough to know, right? She's not new to this. This is not her first rodeo. Tisha understands the game and how the game is played. Tisha was very clear that there were new storylines that were brought in this season, new people that were brought in. And Tisha realizes that she ain't done no whole lot of filming, right? She realizes that she has not made a splash. She has not had a moment, and she has not done a lot of filming. And I'm going to be honest with you, and I honestly feel like Tisha was like, listen, tonight, by hook or by crook, it's going to be a moment. And I do think that she got the liquid courage so she could use that as the excuse on the back end and be like, well, I just had a little too much to drink. I was just enjoying myself a little too much. Because honestly, let's be clear. Tisha picked a fight with everybody that night. And she tried to say later on, it wasn't me. I was just letting people know that, they can't do me like I'm not the same old nice Tisha that I used to be. And they can't treat me like they used to treat me and do me like they used to do me. And I was like, but that, like, even if that is your mantra, like I'm gonna put my foot down and I'm not gonna let nobody talk to me crazy or treat me crazy, even if that's what's going on, which whatever, girl. But even if that's what's really happening here, at the end of the day, that wasn't the moment. Nobody was coming for you. Like, you started with Melody the minute she walked in the door, tried to take her sunglasses off and tried to get her to talk to Marcel because, again, you wanted a moment. You knew that Marcel and Melody having that conversation was going to be a moment. Then you slid on over and you was making your little comments to Nell, calling her by her full name, her legal name or whatever. Then you had your issues with Stormi. I just felt like you was like anybody could get it because at the end of the day, you went for everybody. I could even see if they were coming for you or somebody made a comment, but no, girl, nobody was bothering you. So I honestly feel like Tisha was trying to make a moment. So she gets into it with Stormi because she feels it's weird that Stormi invited her to a party, even though they weren't good from the reunion. First of all, let's break the fourth wall for a second. Girl, you know good and damn well Stormi invited you because it was an all cast situation. You know why you got invited. But even if we want to pretend we're on a reality show, so let's pretend, girl, y'all filmed that reunion months ago. Well, this is Carlos' child. The reunion probably had only been 2 weeks ago, the way they be filming this show. But if you felt like it was weird, girl, you could have called Stormi. And let's be clear. Again, I get it that we are filming a reality show, but you could have told production, I want to film a scene with Stormi about this invitation I got. I don't understand it. I think it's weird and I want to talk about it and I want to do it on camera. I want a scene. That's how this shit works. You tell your producer, you want to do a scene with Stormi because you want to talk to Stormi about the invitation because you feel like y'all haven't resolved things from the reunion. And that same moment you had at Nell's party, girl, you could have had that same moment with Stormi down to the breakfast shop or a basket weaving class or well, any of these other things that they do on this daggone show, right? Then you turn to Nell and you feel some kind of way about Nell because you feel like Nell said that she was a mentor to you and you were like, you weren't my mentor. I wasn't your mentee. We were building a friendship and I was offended by that. That offended you that bad? Again, I think a lot of times when there's a big age gap, sometimes people don't know how to say, like, I get it if you say, well, we were trying to be friends. And I don't know how big the age gap is because I don't think the age gap is that deep between Nell and Tisha, but I do think it's big enough. Now, I can understand Tisha saying, listen, I have people that are actually mentors to me, and I would prefer you not use that term because it could be confusing because there are people in Huntsville that I do have that relationship with, and me and you don't have that relationship. Again, that could have been a scene that you could have filmed away, like not at her birthday party, but you chose to pick a fight with everybody in that party to the point where everybody else walked away from you because they were like, girl, you are really on 20. You are really doing the most. So neither here nor there. That is my take on that. I feel like Tisha had a goal in mind. Tisha set her ass out to create a moment and it backfired because you ended up just looking like a blubbering drunk. That's what you ended up looking like. Like none of those scenes hit. None of those scenes stuck. But neither here nor there. Nell looked like she had a great time at her party, baby. When Nell jumped up on that table, I didn't know what she was getting ready to do. When she jumped up on that table, first of all, Nell, girl, kudos to you because you thickums. Right, Nell is a thicker, but Nell looked like she is very flexible and agile. Did y'all see how she jumps her ass up on that damn table? And Nell is not that tall. Did you see them legs? Nell got some very muscular legs. Nell jumped her ass up on that table. She didn't have to step up. She didn't need no help or nothing. I said, go ahead, Nell. Hey, Corey Boo, thank you for being on the other channel. Oh, thank you for being on both channels. Thank you, my love. I appreciate you supporting me like that. Again, if you are on the main channel and you are not a member, you do not have to buy a membership, but you just go over to the other channel at the link is pinned at the top, and you go on over there. You can chat freely, you guys. Baby, I said, okay, Nell, but I wasn't sure. Y'all was a little nervous. I was a little nervous the way she jumped up. The way she jumped up on that table, Nell, I was a little nervous. I didn't know what Nell was getting ready to do. And then when she jumped off the table and Chris caught her, I said, they do this. They do this. Don't y'all sleep on Nell and Chris. They do this. Now, I do believe Nell the next day probably was hurting. It was definitely an Aleve kind of morning. Okay. It was definitely an Aleve and ointment kind of morning. I believe that. But listen, it ain't nothing wrong with that. That's a good time. That's a good time. Hey, Marnie, that's a good time. Hey, Nitwit. Hey, all my people coming in. Nitwit, B. Carter, J12, Lovely 31. Anybody I missed? Charge it to my head, not my heart. Hey. But yeah, that's a good time. No, ain't nothing wrong with that. So then we have the next scene, which is clearly a forced scene that nobody knew what the hell was going on. We had Courtney, Martell, and Chris. Now, Courtney, I could definitely tell in this scene that you have lost weight, my brother, and you look good, Courtney. You look good, okay? Shout out to Courtney. This scene, I could definitely tell in this scene more than the other scenes that he had lost some weight. He looks good. Yes, ma'am. Nell said you're going to get these legs. Thank you for the super chat, Angie. Thank you so much. Mwah. Yeah, Nell was like, Nell said, honey, you're going to get all of this and them heels and stuff. Look, Nell looked good. She had a good time, and I appreciate that. And that was a moment. Okay? So, Martell, Chris, and Courtney met up at the park to throw the football around. Courtney was like, I don't know why we here. You know, I'm more of a basketball guy. Chris shows up with a football. Martell show up in jeans talking about, y'all picked today. It's cold and y'all want to play some football. First of all, y'all wasn't really got to play no real football, Martell. It was 3 of y'all. What the fuck kind of football was y'all getting ready to play? It was 3 of y'all. So you showing up in some jeans complaining, talking about, you know, well, you picked a cold day to play football. Sir, like it was 20 of y'all that showed up and y'all was about to play some 10 on 10. It was 3 of y'all with one football. Like, I would rather see sometimes, and I don't know if this was well, we're all guys, so you know, let the guys sit around and throw the football around. I would much rather have y'all had met up and had coffee. I would much rather y'all like went over somebody's house and go over Courtney's big ass house. Let him show y'all around the ranch or some shit. But that was so weird. That scene was awkward to me. Then you had Martell and his little ass talking about some, well, you know, Nell, she chose sides. She didn't invite me to her birthday party. I thought you didn't want to go to the birthday party, which we all knew you was lying when you said that. But I thought you didn't want to go to the birthday party. I thought you didn't want to hang out with a bunch of 60-year-olds. Ain't that what you said? So now you in your feelings because you feel like Nell wasn't there and Nell didn't have your back and Nell chose a side. Here's the reality of the situation, right? And there are exceptions to every rule. So if you've been in this situation and you've been able to maneuver both, then great. But the reality of the situation is if you are friends with a married couple or even a couple that's been dating an extended period of time and you become friends with both sides, the reality of the situation is when the marriage ends or the relationship ends, inevitably you will choose a side, whether you consciously mean to do it or whether you are forced into it, especially when it's contentious, especially when the couple cannot get along. Now, if it's a situation where the couple say, hey, we are going to amicably depart. You go your way, I go my way, and it is what it is. Then sometimes you can make that work. You can walk that balancing beam. But when you're in a situation where people are calling the cops on each other and people are filing lawsuits against each other and people are having disputes over custody agreements and it was an ugly divorce because somebody cheated and somebody had a baby, and then you add the element of a TV show where everything is amplified times 20, the reality of the situation is all of them are going to have to make a decision because the way Martell and Melody's relationship has crumbled has forced them to make a decision, to choose a side. Now, that's my opinion. Honestly, that's just my opinion. I've been in that situation. I've been in that situation where I don't want to choose a side, right? And you try to be friends with everybody. You know, you still cool with this person. You still cool with that person, yada, yada, yada. But in a situation like this, like Nell said, listen, the way, like you literally just got arrested. And I just don't think both of y'all need to be there. So yes, the decision that I'm making is I'm going to invite Melody. Martell, you have every right to feel how you feel about it. But what I really want Martell to do is to stop acting like he don't give people reasons to choose Mel over him. Oh, let me see what you're saying. To be honest, I have to watch that scene between Courtney, Chris, and Martell since the bullshit coming. I was channel surfing during that scene. I'm just saying. Well, you didn't really miss a whole lot. I mean, Martell complained about Nell not inviting him to the party. They got into the conversation, and Chris said, basically, Martell asked Chris, well, how do you feel about it? Do you feel like do you think she's choosing sides? And Chris was basically like, I'm going to stick with my wife. If my wife decided that she didn't want to invite you to her party, I'm not going to make her invite you to her party. It was her party and it was her decision, and she's my wife, and that's who I'm going to stick by her. And so then Martell was like, oh, see, he's a punk. He's a punk. And I was just like, so now he's a punk because he's sticking by his wife? Sir, go sit down somewhere. Then they were talking about the gala and how Martell was going to be at the gala and how Martell was supposed to be training to get his body in shape for this daggone gala. Martell saying his body ain't ready. His body ain't ready. Don't care. I don't think too much anything else happened in that scene. Maybe it did, but it wasn't. I mean, if something else happened important, y'all drop it in the chat. But I really don't think nothing else important happened. Marcel is always the victim. Absolutely, he is. Just like Tisha. Tisha plays the victim too. Tisha, because let me say this. And I know y'all hate it when I go back to season 1 and how I was reviewing season 1 and stuff I remember from season 1. But let me say this about Miss Letitia. And we about to move into this scene with Letitia and with Marcel. Let me say this about you, Miss Tisha. You like to play victim as well. Like people just take advantage of you and you just little Miss Nice Girl or whatever. Tisha, you've been dropping bombs and subliminals since season 1 as well. You have always done that. If you go back to season 1, once Melody let it be known that she was open to talk about the affair, Tisha started dropping subliminals and started being messy. Now, she could say that production made her do it or production put her up to it, and that's fine. They may very well have done that. But what we're not going to do is sit here and act like you wasn't being messy. What we're not going to do is sit here and act like that you wasn't throwing subliminals and throwing little smart comments, because you have been and you were doing it, okay? Fast forward to where we are now. Tisha and Marcel are talking. And the first thing that Tisha was saying was that she wanted to make sure that Marcel and Kimmy and Maurice were on the same page about this project, because she does not want her and Kimmy to reverse. She does not want her and Kimmy to go backwards, because her and Kimmy are in a good space. And again, I say to you, Tisha, you created that problem with Kimmy, because you wanted Kimmy to be more to you than what Kimmy was. You and Kimmy were sister-in-laws that got along, and I'm sure that y'all were building a friendship. But you are one of those people that put certain parameters on your friendships with people, and you expected more from Kimmy because y'all are related than Kimmy was willing to give. And even when Carlos asked, "Is Tisha somebody you would be friends with if y'all weren't related?" and Kimmy was like, "No, because I don't. That's not the energy I give in my friendships." So again, don't sit here and act like you and the problems in you and Kimmy's relationship stem from business, because they didn't. The problems in you and Kimmy's relationship stemmed from you and your expectations of what her friendship meant. And you are one of those people that think that friendship means blind loyalty and commitment, even when you're wrong. So Marcel was like, "Listen, girl, me and Maurice been talking, and I understand what Kimmy wants. And if Kimmy hires me to do the job, we're going to do the job on time and under budget. Like, that's what it's going to be. I get it." So then they got to talking about the party. And I feel like Marcel knew how drunk Tisha was. Because let's be clear, he had to go home with her. So he knows how drunk her ass was. Because by the time we saw Tisha have that last conversation with Nail, baby, she couldn't even get her words out. She was slurring so bad. So she was drunk as hell. Like, I don't even think it was an act. I think she was drunk for real. So he went home with her that night. He know how drunk her ass was. So he got to saying something about her taking accountability. And she was like, "You don't think I take accountability?" And he was like, now, I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like that conversation went beyond us. I feel like that was a real married couple having a real conversation, because he started getting into stuff about her taking accountability. And she was like, "You don't think I take accountability?" And he was like, no. Like, well, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kevin. I know me and you don't always agree, honey. I thank you. Kevin said, "On another note, I thoroughly enjoy your assessment as review so far." Well, thank you, boo. And my thing is, so I felt like they were going deeper, because Marcel was like, "Listen, I take accountability. We all make mistakes. But at the end of the day, no, I do not think you always take accountability." So Tisha was like, "I don't want to talk about that now. I don't want to hear that now. That's not what I want from you." And Marcel was like, "All right then." And he was ending the conversation. Now, by this time, Tisha is crying. She done stole Candace's tissue, because she got it folded in a triangle, and she dabbing the corner of her eyes just like Candace. I said, "Lord, Candace, you really should trademark that." Candace should be selling tissues in the shape of a triangle. Candace, you should be selling them tissues. I'm sorry. It may sound like a cheap gimmick, but girl, you could have packaged them things, and you could have been selling them on your damn website, down to the TikTok shop and everything else. You'd have made you a couple of $1,000s off of them tissues. I'm sure the person who invented the Post-it, people thought, "Well, you just putting a little bit of glue on the back of a piece of paper. What's the big deal?" And that person is a billionaire now. Okay. Everybody that gets their makeup professionally done wants one of Candace's tissues. That's all I'm saying about that. But somewhere in that conversation, I feel like we went off the road and we were legitimately in a private conversation between Marcel and Tisha, because I really feel like that there were things that either they edited out or things they weren't saying. Because it really, like, we didn't even see Tisha get the tissue. So clearly part of that conversation was edited out, because literally 1 minute Tisha was talking, they panned over to Marcel, they went back to Tisha, she was crying, and she had a whole tissue that she had already folded and was dabbing in the corner of her eyes. So clearly there was something we missed in this conversation. But ultimately, what I feel like is that Marcel feels like Tisha doesn't take accountability for all of her ish. And I think, once again, just like with Kimmy, Tisha wants Marcel to stand beside her even when she is wrong. Look, I'm not even married to that damn Marcel. I'm not even married to Marcel, and I know that's not who he is. Marcel is not that guy. Whether he's your husband, your brother, your cousin, your friend, Marcel's not that guy. Now, y'all know I like Marcel. I don't always like what come out of Marcel's mouth, but I like Marcel. Because Marcel is one of those people, you know, where you stand with him. You might not like where you stand with him, and you may not agree with his assessment of things, but you know where you stand with Marcel. And Marcel is not the person that's going to piss on your leg and tell you it's raining. Marcel is going to say, look, I got to go to the bathroom really, really badly, and either you're going to get out my way or you're going to get some on your leg, right? That's the kind of person that Marcel is. So because she said, well, you don't have to do it in public and it always embarrassed me. And I was trying to figure out how we got from a conversation about you and Kimmy to a conversation about him correcting you in public and embarrassing you, which, again, somewhere we missed something in this conversation, because no point did we hear anything about Marcel correcting her publicly. They were having a private conversation in their living room. I mean, granted, yes, there was a camera crew there, but y'all were having a one-on-one conversation. Now, in the past, has Marcel said things that might have been a little embarrassing to Tisha? Okay, yeah, sure. But again, are we bringing up old shit? And when was it brought up? When was it brought up? Because we didn't hear that. And that goes back to what I was saying before about the editing of this season. I understand that conversations get chopped up all the time. But my issue with this season so far is conversations and scenes are getting chopped up to the point where the shit don't make sense. So we're literally watching Tisha and Marcel have this conversation, and they went from him and Tisha talking to Tisha crying and having a whole tissue, and them talking about him embarrassing her in public and correcting her in public, and why does he always have to do that? I don't know how we got here. I was confusion. But neither here nor there. The conversation ended with Marcel asking Tisha, so do you really want to talk about this now? And Tisha saying, no, I don't want to talk about this. And Marcel saying, all right, then. So then Tisha called him back and was like, why would you say I don't take accountability? And Marcel kind of gave her the, okay, you said you didn't want to talk about this. Now, do you want to talk about it? And next thing I know, Marcel was leaving. And I don't know what the hell got accomplished in that conversation. But again, I know Marcel well enough to know that if you was waiting for Marcel to give you a atta girl, yeah, you put your foot down. Don't let nobody walk all over you. Don't let nobody treat you bad. What Marcel's attitude was, why do you care? Like, why do you keep caring about every little thing? Like, for example, the whole mentor situation. Again, I don't see what the big deal it was that Nell called you her. Nell said that y'all had a mentor-mentee type relationship. I don't see what the big deal was. I can't tell you not to be upset by something, but I think those are the types of things that Marcel was saying. Why are you tripping? Why are you sweating the small stuff? Like, why are you tripping? Right. She pretends she don't know who she married for the camera. Right. Not for the blind loyalty. Right is right and wrong is wrong. Right. I'm just not that person. Marcel will piss on your leg and tell you it's raining if it serves his purpose. I disagree with that. I don't think so. I think Marcel, now this is what I do think about Marcel. I think Marcel thinks he's the smartest person in the room. And I think Marcel thinks that he can convince you that it's not raining or that it's not pee. Because I think that Marcel thinks he's, now that part of Marcel, he thinks he's the smartest person in the room. Now that I do agree with. He definitely thinks he's the smartest person in the room. And again, I don't always agree with how he talks to Tisha. I don't always agree with his assessment of things, but I ain't marry him. You did. And you knew who you married. Like, I do not believe that Marcel has changed. I do not believe that the Marcel we're seeing now is not the Marcel that you dated. But now they did say they dated quickly and got married quickly. But I don't believe that this isn't the Marcel you know. You know him. Since the first season, Tisha has constantly been sunned by these women, and it probably is tiring. I don't feel like she's been sunned by these women. I don't. Again, Tisha likes to throw the rock and hide her hand because remember, for the first 3 seasons, Tisha hid behind Miss Wanda. Tisha allowed Miss Wanda to be her mouthpiece. And now that Miss Wanda is not there, now Tisha has to figure out a way to still do the things, move the way she want to move. Because she allowed Miss Wanda to be her mouthpiece with Marcel. She allowed Miss Wanda to be her mouthpiece with Melody, Kimmy, and anybody else she had an issue with. And now that Miss Wanda is not there, now it's a problem. But anyway, Just Me says Marcel has always been the man he is. She's just embarrassed he calls her out on TV. I agree. I think that has a lot to do with it. That is now on TV. Yep, I agree. So this next scene, I'm going to tell you what, and I know that the mellometers are going to pick this scene apart. And listen, for the people who are new here, when I say mellometers, I am not talking about people who just love male. I am talking about the extreme fans. I am not talking about the people who are just fans of Melody, okay? So if you're new here, don't be offended if you call yourself a mellometer. I am talking about those extreme fans that just think that Melody walks on gold, okay? Oh, sorry, not sorry. Oh, wow, Kevin. Oh, okay, boo. I loved this scene with Stormi and Melody. I did. I loved seeing it. Because even though I skipped that season when Melody and Stormi fell out, I saw the beginning of it, but I skipped last season where I guess their relationship really fell out. I really thought that Melody and Stormi were decent friends. I know they weren't tight friends. I know that they were building a friendship. I know they weren't best friends, but I really liked Melody and Stormi. Now, I'm not saying that this one scene means that they're best friends again. That doesn't, I get it. I understand that Melody ain't friends with none of these people, and Melody ain't trying to be friends with none of these people, okay? But I loved the fact that Melody and Stormi could sit down and have a meal and really have a good conversation. They recapped what happened at the party. They talked about Tisha being off the hook. They talked about Melody coming to the gala. We're going to get to that in a second. They talked about the podcast. Remember, Stormi was the only one that came to the podcast, so Melody appreciated that. And they talked about the podcast. They talked about, and listen, I love that they talked about what happened with Destiny and Tweedledee and Tweedledum, because I thought it was a good conversation. And I agree with what Stormi said. Stormi was like, listen, you love who you love. I just feel like her energy is a bit aggressive at Destiny. Like, you could have just been like, girl, listen, I get it. I know y'all was together. I know this might look a little funky, but you know, I can't help who I fell in love with. I'm sorry that the optics are bad and you know, all of that, but you can't help you love who you love. And I'm gonna be on, and I know that would be uninteresting as a TV show. But honestly, I wouldn't even be mad at Sunny if that was her attitude, honestly. But the way that she's acting like Destiny did something to her, well, she was a side chick the whole time, and well, I got him now, and all of that energy, girl. But I already said all of that. Stormi messed that up, and I'm not blaming Mel at all. That's what I'm saying. Listen, I don't know nothing about it, Kevin. I honestly skipped that whole season, so I don't know. I only caught the few, like, if I watched a review here or there, or I caught a blog post or whatever. So I honestly don't know what happened between Stormi and Melody. So I'm not saying that Melody was right or wrong. That ain't what I'm saying. I'm just saying I liked seeing them film this scene. I don't know what happened, and I'm not interested in going back and watching the whole season and reviewing what happened. I saw the beginning of the breakdown with the whole situation with Stormi's mom made some comments at Melody. Like, I saw the beginning of the breakdown, but I do not know the whole story. But Stormi's mom is a whole mess. I do remember that because I remember Stormi's mom. I think probably the last episode I watched was that episode where Stormi's mom got into it with the sister. I think that might be the last episode. Me either, really be. Sunny could have played this differently. And things would have probably been a whole lot different for her. Yeah, and I think it still would have been a show. Like, I mean, we know Carlos likes mess, but it still would have been something to talk about. Like, it still would have been something to talk about because the story itself is messy as hell. But even if we had a scene where Sunny sat down with Destiny and they were able to compare dates, and Destiny would say, and Stormi could have just been like, you know what? It was my understanding that the relationship was done. I mean, we're married now, and I choose to move forward with my husband. But I apologize because I did, or, I'm sorry because it was my understanding that he was free and clear. It just could have been handled differently. So then Stormi tells Melody that she invited Marcel to the gala. And again, I have to respect Melody and say, well, listen, I got it. But if Marcel is there, Melody's not, I won't be there. And thank you for the invitation. I ain't in my feelings about it. I don't feel no kind of way, but if he's there, I'm not there. That's just it. That's just how I'm moving. And listen, I don't blame Melody not one bit for not wanting to be anywhere in the vicinity of where Marcel Ho is when she don't have to be. I don't blame her in any way, shape, or form. I mean, at this point, I don't even know if she legally can be. I don't know if it's a restraining order or what. But even if there isn't one, I do not blame her not one single bit. I don't want to be nowhere near him when I don't have to be. If we ain't exchanging the kids, I don't want to talk to him about nothing. Nothing. Hey, Remain Teachable. Yes, Xavier was promoted today. Xavier got a rich, honey. Yes. Xavier got a rich, honey. All right, so that was that. So then we get into the scene with Marcel and Tisha, what's her name? Trisha, the bodybuilder. Y'all. This is so weird. This is so weird. I don't understand this whole, what are we supposed to be getting from this whole Marcel Trisha situation? Because I already told y'all that I felt like something went down with them. But this whole conversation was weird because she kept trying to get Marcel to acknowledge her, and he still wouldn't acknowledge. Like, he still was sidestepping until he finally said, well, you look, I didn't recognize you. I mean, I don't know you. Well, I mean, well, because when he said, I don't know you, and she let them weights drop, and he was like, well, I just mean it was weird, I mean, it was just, you look different. I guess they're trying to build up the suspense to something because Carlos keeps hinting that we'll find out what it is. We'll find out what it is. But I'll be honest with you, I don't care. I honestly, see, once again, you have not made us care about this. I don't care. I'm going to be honest with you. Even if we find out that Marcel and Tish, the bodybuilder, did get it in at some point in time, at this point, at this point, my only reaction would be that's messy as hell of production. I think that Marcel and Melody have enough complications without bringing in another complication. Because let's be clear, unless Marcel messed with this girl his first 2 years of college, it overlaps with Melody in some way, shape, or form, whether they were dating or whether they were married. And it's messy as hell. So unless this is somebody he dated when he was like a freshman in college, and if that's the case, I don't give a fuck. But if you are bringing on somebody else that Marcel has had some sort of sexual relationship with in the last 15 years, that's messy as hell. And I don't want no parts of that. And if the bodybuilder willingly came on the show as that being her storyline, I ain't got no parts for none of that. Because let's be clear, you got your own shit to work out. Because you got a whole husband and boyfriend. Now, then Marcel wanted to get into this whole conversation about side chicks. Nell being a side chick. Now Ken is a side chick. Marcel Hope. Sir. You. Oh, that's not, before I get there, let's not forget, he tried to throw Marceau under the bus, talking about Marceau having his party. He went back to Marceau having them parties and all of that. Marcel Holt, you the only person that had a side chick on this damn show. From my understanding, the Chris and Nell situation, yes, Chris was still married, but he was separated from his wife at the time. Him and his wife were not functioning as a married couple, and they were in the process of separating, divorcing, whatever. They were not living together every night. He was not going home, sleeping in her bed, having sex with her, getting her impregnated while he was having a whole nother relationship. Okay. Same thing with Ken and Barbie. Okay. They have been living together for 2 years. Barbie ain't, the problem is she just ain't served that man with no divorce, and the divorce ain't final. But that is not a side chick or a side man. They are not living together as husband and wife. You, Marcel Holt, were living with your wife, okay, for an extended period of time, okay? You was coming home to her and your kids every night, living this one big happy family lifestyle, playing in everybody's face. That is a side chick. And then you got her pregnant. Also, Chris and Nell have both stood up to their shit. They said they've dealt with infidelity. They said they went through that and they worked through it. What they not doing is sitting there trying to pretend like it didn't happen and trying to come up with a bunch of other damn excuses rather than say, you know what? I F this up. I threw away my family and I F this up. You keep wanting to find other excuses, other reasons, and other things. I'm so sick of Marceau and Tisha, what's her name? Trisha, the bodybuilder. I don't think I like you either. Because let me tell y'all something. If that in fact is the case, if we come back around that mountain and we find out, what up, Shade in the City? Hey, boo. If we come back around that mountain and we find out that Trish did the horizontal mumbo with Martell while him and Melody were together, whether it be him and Melody were dating, him and Melody were married, or even while him and Melody were going through that divorce. That's some messy shit that you will come on the show. Because let's be clear, none of us believe that the only person Martell been sleeping around with is Ariana. Like, if you believe that, I got a bridge in Brooklyn to sell you. However, If you messy enough to bring your ass on the show, I got side eye the hell out of you. Oh, remain teachable. We need 15 more subs, child. Hopefully, I was trying to do it by the end of June. Hopefully, we could, by the end of May, but hopefully, we can do it by the end of June. We can get 15 new people to subscribe, honey. So, anyway, do you know the storyline with Trisha and Candace Fate? You do know the storyline with Trisha and Candace Fate. No, I don't know. I absolutely think it's something deeper with Tisha and Marcel. Carlos knows that. Right. Oh, Carlos has already alluded to that. If you listen to his reviews with Heavenly, he's alluded to that. It's more to the story. Child, I got to put this in my ear. The other patient asked, is the bodybuilder the side chick? These patients give me life with all they child. That is funny to me. Tell the patients, listen, it's a whole lot of mess down here. Word on the curb is they did hook up allegedly. He said she came by the house a few times. Yeah, I saw that in the trailer. Right? But it hasn't played out yet. But I did see that in the trailer. Another YouTuber spoke on it. I absolutely think she's done for that. Let me say this. I'm going to tell y'all now. How do I say this? Because I don't like saying something that I don't mean. So let me word this in a way that I mean it. If we find out that Ken and Barbie are a fake couple for the sole purpose of Carlos King to bring in one of Martel's side chicks just to create drama and a storyline for a couple like Melody and Martel that already got more than enough drama and more than enough bullshit, I'm going to just leave it there because I don't want to say something that I don't mean. Yeah, Kevin, you can. Thank you, baby. I don't want to say something I don't mean. But I promise y'all, I will be on a whole nother level of pissed off. I don't even know how to word how angry I would be. And I'm going to tell y'all the truth. I will be here for every single mellometer that does YouTube dragging the dog shit out of Carlos for however many videos they choose to. It's one thing to exploit what's really happening in their marriage because they signed up for it and they allowed it and they stayed on the show. It's something totally different. Like you literally have a couple, like Melody and Martel are still going through their like real life bullshit. Yeah, I'm gonna just leave it there because I don't want to say something I don't mean. But baby, I would be so pissed off. Well, we know why they didn't bring Ariana on. They didn't bring Ariana on because Melody was like, no. Melody was like, if you bring her on, I'm leaving. That's it. That's all. I would not. And I think the rest of the cast, well, maybe not all of the cast, but there were cast members that said they wouldn't film with her. So that's why but I think he wanted to. Oh, he absolutely wanted to bring her on the show. Absolutely he did. Absolutely he did. But Melody is still an executive producer, and I think she's got a little bit of power. Which is why I think Melody is still on the show, honestly. I honestly feel like if Melody was not an EP, I think Melody would have left the show. Because there's really no reason for Melody to be here. Melody has taken these lemons and made a lot of lemonade. And at this point, I mean, I don't know nobody's pockets, and I ain't trying to get in nobody's pockets. But at this point, I believe that Melody makes way more money off of Love and Marriage Huntsville than on. And I believe that she has created enough of a foundation that if she were to leave Love and Marriage Huntsville, I think she would still be able to make money. I think that 7th Avenue Cosmetics would still do well. I think that her public speaking would still do well. Her mimosas with Melody. Like, I still think she would have of her income. And And she's just phoning it in at this point. I mean, she does what she has to do. She shows up and she does her job. But she's just phoning it in. Thank you, baby. Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, because I do want to hear that because, I'll be so mad. That's why he went at Carlos saying he wanted to show his real life. Wait a minute, hold on. He wanted to bring her on to hurt Melody. Absolutely. Hold on, what did it say? Excuse me, I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't even I don't even have the word. Like I said, I don't want to say something that I don't mean because I was getting ready to go real left. But I say this: if that were the case, then whatever the Melometers do or say, black out, boycott, drag him, whatever, because there would be no reason for him to do that to Melody. Yeah, I just yeah, that would be bad, y'all. I mean, it's one thing that they're coming on the show. Never mind. I'm gonna leave that there. I'm gonna just put a pin right there. Thank you, Kevin. I'm gonna put a pin right there. So the last scene we see Melody confronting Marcel. Now, here's an example of what I mean when I say I like Marcel, but I don't always like what Marcel does and says. Now, Melody, they invited Melody to do the Black Expo. Melody says she was booked. Now, whether she was really booked or not, don't know, don't care. But at least she was graceful in how she said no, right? She wasn't rude about it. She wasn't disrespectful about it. She said, no, thank you. I have a prior commitment, right? Respect. Okay. I 100% understand what Melody is saying in this moment. Melody is saying, listen, you did not have to speak on what happened between me and Marcel. Me and Marcel. Marcel said, well, the people down at the radio, at the television station thought it was me and didn't think it was him. So I had to clear that up. And Melody said, you know what? I respect that. I understand that you wanted to clear up because you didn't want them to report that it was you and it wasn't you. However, you didn't have to go further and give comment. She said, people have reached out to me about stuff y'all have going on, y'all lawsuits and you owing people money and stuff. And I don't speak on it. Even when people reach out to me on a personal level, even when it's not for the blogs or for the media, when they reach out to me on a personal level, I say no. I don't comment. And then Marcel showed her the text message between him and I guess either somebody at a reporter where he put free my man, free Martell. And that's when Melody got pissed off because, and I agree with her, because at the end of the day, if you don't know the story, then shut the hell up. When you say free Martell, that's like you saying, oh, well, I don't believe anything. I don't believe he did anything wrong. Free Martell. Now, the reality, thank you, baby. Thank you, Remain Teacher, for coming through. We almost done here anyway. The reality of the situation is, you can feel that way, but if you don't know the whole story, your best answer is no comment. No comment. It's okay to say no comment. It's okay to stay the hell out of it. And with the history that you had with Melody and Martell, I don't even understand why you would even. He said, well, when I have a personal friend. So that's your friend now? You and Martell friends? Oh, okay. I think Melody and Marcel just have fun banter, and she likes to film with him because he's easygoing. Marcel is rational with everyone but Tisha. Let me say this. Do I think Melody was disturbed by it? Yes. Do I think Melody was pissed off that he commented? Yes. But do I think that Melody is never going to speak, like ready to cuss him out? But I do think it bothered her. But again, I can do this all day. And Marcel was wrong. But I can appreciate that they had the conversation. I appreciate that Melody talked to him one-on-one. I even appreciate when Melody started talking to Tisha about it. She stopped herself and said, you know what? I'm going to talk to Marcel because this ain't even for you. Like, I don't even want to give you that energy. I don't want to be nasty towards you. I don't want to have anger towards you because it wasn't you. I respected the hell out of Melody when she did that. When she stopped herself and was like, you know what? I'm going to just talk to your husband because this ain't even for you. I respected the hell out of that. You know what I'm saying? But I agree with you, Just Me. I don't think it was that deep of a conversation. I think that Marcel knows that he shouldn't have said what he said. But I think what genuinely happened, and I'm not defending anybody, y'all, before y'all come yelling at me. I'm not defending anybody. But I think what genuinely happened was when they heard that Marcel got arrested for a text message, I think a lot of people thought, a text message? Why would he be getting arrested for a text message? And then when they got the full story, I think a lot of their attitude changed once they understood everything that happened. So maybe Marcel made that comment before he had all the information, and thought it was just just him and Mel doing what they do again. But we didn't get part 2 of the conversation. So I think part 2 of the conversation, maybe they worked it out. Okay. No, Marcel said he has not seen that tape, Peggy. Marcel has said he did not see that tape. He has been clear that he did not see that tape. So Marcel said he did not see that tape. And I don't believe that Marcel saw that tape. Now I know me and you might disagree on that, and that's fine, but I don't believe Marcel saw the tape. I don't. Do I think that Marcel knew a tape existed? Yes. But hell, I think him and Tisha got tapes. A lot of married couples got tapes. But I do not believe, I don't believe Marcel saw it. I believe he knew it existed. Yeah, I'm not giving Marcel a pass, y'all, because I think that he should, if it were me in that situation, with the way Melody and Marcel have gone back and forth over the years, my response would have been a no comment. I wouldn't have had shit to say. Because I just wouldn't have wanted to get in it. I would not have wanted to be in it. I would have been like, no comment. Period. But that's me. But yeah, Marcel did do a live clearing that up to say. And again, listen, we ain't got to believe him. Y'all ain't got to believe him, and that's fine. I do believe him about the tape, though. I do. Like I said, do I think he knew the tape existed? Yes. Do I think that he knew Marcel was going to try to use that tape to blackmail Melody? No, I do not believe that. I do not believe that Marcel would have been a part of that. I do not believe that Marcel would have been cool with that. I don't believe that. Now, I know there are people that don't, and I know I like Marcel, so maybe I give him too much. That's fine. At the reunion, he said he saw somebody's mother on the tape. We all thought it was Miss Van. It was Miss Van. It was Miss Van. Again, Peggy, baby, I don't know these people in real life, so I could be wrong, but that's my opinion. I personally don't think that Marcel would have been okay with Marcel using, right. It's two different, exactly, Xavier. We're blending. It's two different tapes. I personally don't think that Marcel would have been cool with Marcel doing that. That is my opinion. I could be wrong, but that's my opinion. Do I think that when Marcel and Marcel were friends, that they used to talk shit? Yeah. Do I think that Marcel knew that there was a tape? I'm sure. Just like I'm sure that Marcel, let's be clear. I'm not confusing two different tapes. Other people are. How many more episodes are left? I still haven't watched this season yet. Is it worth watching? Miss Van also says she never dated Mark, and she did. So, no disrespect, but she lied. She lied. She dated Mark. Now, whether she wants to admit she dated Mark or not, whether she likes the fact that she dated Mark, it doesn't change the fact that she did date Mark. So her saying that there's not a tape don't mean nothing to me because she lied about dating him. So Sharice, honestly, if you haven't started the season, child, just watch people's reviews. Just watch the reviews, girl. Because no, the season is not doing a whole lot. But anyway, again, neither him. Yeah, I do like Marcel, but like I said, I could call Marcel out. Marcel was wrong. He was wrong for commenting. Period, and that is it. He was wrong for commenting. But do I think he knows that there was a tape? Yes. Do I think that he was in on a plan to expose the tape and he was cool with it? No, I don't. But anyway, y'all. Hey, Kenya. Hey, boo. But let me get out of here, you guys. Let me get out of here. Thank y'all for being here. Again, if you are not subscribed to the ReallyBTV Reviews channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We are trying to get to 1,000. I was trying to get y'all my power review, and I have another Bridgerton, but I don't think I'm going to be able to because I'm going to go to bed because I have to get up in the morning. So I don't think I'm going to get that in tonight, but I will get those in. When I get back on Monday, I'll do a couple of reviews. I'm going to talk to y'all later, though. Y'all have a good weekend. Happy Father's Day. If tomorrow is not a good day for you, if Father's Day is not a good day for you, and I understand that it's not a good day for everybody, please find a way to be okay. I know that's easier said than done. Go do something that makes you happy tomorrow. Maybe do something that brings back good memories. Go see a friend. Go reach out to a family member. Go find a good book. Go catch a movie. If you want to binge watch Sex in the City, I don't know. Do something that makes you happy tomorrow because I do understand that Father's Day and Mother's Days are not the best for everybody. With that being said, I'm going to keep everybody in positive thoughts and prayers, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace. Mwah.